Ed and Lorraine were trailblazers in the field of paranormal research. The married couple founded the oldest paranormal investigation group on the East Coast, the New England Society for Psychic Research. They investigated 10,000 cases, and not only did they investigate ghosts, but they investigated demonic entities. Ed Warren was a demonologist, meaning he specialized in the study of demons and the method to summon and control them. Lorraine was a talented clairvoyant and medium, meaning she could communicate with those who had passed on. Annabelle. In 1968, the doll was given to a young nursing student who shared an apartment with a roommate. The two women noticed the doll was in different positions, and as well as different locations throughout the apartment. The women claimed the doll would leave messages that said things like "help me," written on parchment paper, which neither of the women owned. And at this point, most people would have gotten rid of the doll. Nope, the two women decided to consult with a medium. The medium was able to connect with the doll, and the medium received a message that the doll had a spirit of a young girl attached to it named Annabelle Higgins, who had passed away when she was 7 years old. So the women invited the spirit to stay with the doll, which was probably a bad idea. And this is where Ed and Lorraine Warren come in. Ed and Lorraine heard of the doll and decided to contact the women. They investigated the doll and determined that there was a demonic entity attached to the doll. The Warrens removed the doll from the young woman's home and took it to their museum, where it is safely stored to this day. And there are warning signs that surround Annabelle. And there's a story that says a museum goer taunted Annabelle and was in a motorcycle accident after leaving the museum. The Devil Made Me Do It case. In 1981, the first case in the United States to use demonic possession as a defense was the trial of Arnie Cheyenne Johnson. The story begins with David Glatzel, an 11-year-old boy who was believed to be possessed by a demon. David's parents contacted Ed and Lorraine Warren to help the boy. The Warrens then called in several Catholic priests to exorcise David. The story goes that the demon fled from David and entered Arnie Johnson's body. David is the younger brother of Johnson's fiancée. Several months later, after the exorcism, Johnson killed his landlord. The day after the murder, Lorraine called the police department and told them that Arnie Johnson was possessed at the time of the murder. Martin Manella, Johnson's lawyer, attempted to submit a plea of not guilty by virtue of possession. Judge Callahan argued that the defense could not exist in a court of law due to the lack of evidence, and that it would be irrelative and unscientific to allow related testimony. The jury deliberated for 3 days. They convicted Johnson on first-degree manslaughter. This case was known as the Devil Made Me Do It case. And only a few weeks before putting this video together, Zach Baggins of Ghost Adventures and owner of the Haunted Museum purchased the chair that David was exorcised on. Amityville. In November 1974, Ronald DeFeo murdered 6 members of his family at the now infamous Amityville Horror House. In December of 1975, the Lutzes moved into the Amityville house for 28 days. And for that 28 days, they were terrorized by paranormal phenomenon. The family experienced green gelatin-like substances throughout the house, foul odors, seeing apparitions, hearing noises, among many other horrifying instances. 20 days after the Lutzes left the home, the Warrens were brought in to investigate by Marvin Scott, a news reporter with Channel 5, New York. He had worked with the Warrens on a case in the past and brought them in to investigate. There was a book released called The Amityville Horror in 1977, written by Jason Anson. And then in 1979, there was a film released based on that book called The Amityville Horror. And since then, there have been 16 Amityville-inspired films. The Warrens were trailblazers in the world of paranormal investigations. They documented and investigated numerous famous hauntings, and their work has been made into books, movies, including being the inspiration for the Conjuring cinematic universe. So what would you do if you had a possessed doll or lived in a haunted house? Do you believe in ghosts? Tell us what you think in the section below, and always remember to like and subscribe, and don't forget to stay strange.